Hi everybody and welcome to FIF TV. It's me, Dov, and my lovely cohort Nicholas Carroll here at the SIRO Stadium in Milan, and we've just witnessed Christian Zapata score a 97th minute winner to give Milan a 2-2 draw against Inter. So, Nicholas was in with the Inter fans, I was in with the press. It was a crazy game. Pulsating, I think, is a really good word to describe it. Nick, I just want to get your thoughts first on what it was like being in with the Inter Ultras.
Yeah, it was crazy. They definitely turned up for what was a big occasion. Obviously, the Milan Derby. There was a lot at stake, a lot of dignity or pride on the line, I guess you could say. Yeah. And it was a jovial atmosphere for most of the match. For 96 minutes of the match, the Inter fans were very happy, almost celebrating before the full-time whistle, and it was just a massive downer at the end. Yeah,
it looked very depressing from where I was sitting, because obviously, like you say, it was jovial. The Inter fans looked like they were going to get the win, and then at the end you just seen all of them kind of with their heads hanging over the barriers, just almost, you could feel the depression coming from the Curva Nord.
Yeah, I can't even describe it. I've never felt you know, it seemed like a loss for everyone in that stand. It really felt like a loss, even though it was a draw. So it was a hard one for the fans to take.
Yeah, well, and Milan celebrated it like a win. You've seen the whole bench running on the pitch, and then I don't even know when the referee blew the final whistle, but it just looked like the goal went in and that was it, finished.
Yeah, exactly, that was it. Interesting that after the last 2-2 draw, Montella had actually commented that they celebrated, Inter had got a last minute goal, and he had commented that they celebrated like they won. And interesting to see what happened today, but anyway, let's just
see what I'll probably have to answer that question in the press conference, which I'm sure you'll be able to read on Forza Time Football once it's up. So, right, quickly talk about the game, right, because in my opinion Inter were by far the better team. I think they dominated the first half in particular, and then the second dropped off a little bit, but Milan really couldn't get past that defence.
Yeah, it's a funny game. Inter, I mean, I guess like how they have for a lot of the season, they dominated in terms of the possession. Their midfield bossed AC Milan basically. Milan weren't really in the game. They only had a few chances on the counter, and in the first half really their best chance came from when Gagliardini had made an error in the opening minutes. So Gerard Deulofeu was probably their only real danger man, I guess. He was running around the outside.
Rings around.
Yeah, D'Ambrosio wasn't doing a great job on him, but other than that, the defence was fine. Carlos Bacca was basically, you kind of forgot he was there. He wasn't really involved. Medel it was good to have him back in that central defence as opposed to the midfield, but I thought Jeffrey Kondogbia had a great game. Gagliardini coming back from injury, I didn't think he was a bit kind of scratchy. He made a couple of mistakes, but generally those two, they dominated that midfield, and that set up the platform for what really should have been a win.
What did you think of big Mauro Icardi? That's his first ever goal in the Milan Derby. I think that's after 9 attempts. Yeah. He loved it. He enjoyed that one.
Yeah, he seemed to like it. It's a long time coming, so it's good he's finally got that one off his tick list, I guess you could say.
And Ivan Perisic as well, a standing ovation when he came off.
Yeah.
The Inter fans seem to really kind of warm to him. I'm not a big fan, as you well know.
Yeah, I'm aware.
But the Inter fans, when he came off, like everybody in the stadium stood up and applauded him off.
Yeah, I think it's. I think the Inter fans recognise the work rate that he does put in, and that's something I've often tell you, that it's not only his contributions in attack and putting the assists forward like he did today, but it's also the tracking back and defending that he does. So I think Inter fans do really appreciate the work rate and the work ethic that he has.
So why do you not like Eder? Because he does the same.
Eder, well, I mean, if you want to see why I don't particularly like Eder, just watch the minutes that he played when he came on today, because I mean,
he was Eder.
Yeah, he did nothing. He wasted some opportunities, but yeah, I think the real down point for today was well, the worst game came from the bench, from Stefano Pioli.
So what happened then? Because my reading of it was when Jason Murillo came on, that really kind of turned it a lot, because Milan were putting a bit of pressure on, but like you say, they weren't getting any real clear-cut chances. Like Handanovic had a few shaky kind of parts in the game, but really there wasn't really any clear danger there. But then kind of as the game wore on, they got closer and closer, and Romagnoli scored, and then you thought, wait a minute, we've got a game on here, and then obviously we know what happened at the end.
Yeah, I don't understand the tactic there. 2-0 up, and as you said, they were starting to build pressure, but they weren't any great chances. They weren't anything significant, and I just saw no reason for Pioli to change Inter's game, because Inter, I mean, to be fair, they should have seen the game off in the start of the second half. I think they had a couple chances, and Perisic was probably the biggest one that comes to mind when Icardi had set him up. He really should have buried that.
Right.
So, you know, there's that, but to actually take off Jean Mario, who I thought was quite strong, and put on Murillo, basically telling AC Milan, okay, we're going to sit back and defend this. It was a very almost Juve-esque move, but I mean, you look at Juve's defenders and you look at Inter's defenders. I mean, Inter shouldn't be defending like that in a game that you're dominating anyway. Like,
even that, they shouldn't have been. I didn't think they should have kind of sat that far back in the first place, because I think Milan, they were almost there for the taking. I think if they kept going for it, you would have got that third goal, and then that would have been game over.
It's as soon as I saw them sit back, I didn't like it, and then straight away, I mean, it was almost a couple minutes after I think Murillo came on that they got that first goal, and then from there it was just a very nervy end for all the Inter fans around. And it didn't end well. So a lot of question marks over Pioli's tactics there, and it almost seems like he doesn't have the confidence in the team to be able to see off a game. So
where do Inter go from here? Because obviously you had that defeat by Crotone the other weekend, the mighty Crotone, shall we say? Now it's only Chievo that are mighty, so the almost mighty Crotone, and then obviously today, like what essentially was a defeat to Milan, and that's you're 2 points behind Milan in the table now as well. So where did Inter go from here? Because it looked like they were almost certain for a Europa League place and possibly getting a Champions League place, and now that's looking even kind of more distant than maybe it was, or it is more distant.
I mean, I guess trying to take the positives from an Inter perspective, they did play well, and if they play like they did in the first half in the majority of games, they should be getting results. In saying that, you know, 2 points behind Milan, really, I mean, that 1 minute, that one kick, the last kick of the game makes such a difference in this season, because as you said, it's 2 points and for that Europa League place, and that needs to be, I think that's minimum for Inter. They need to regain that position. It might be tough, but that needs to be the focus, and they need to draw on the positives and move on. But I mean, it's almost the whole game today, it seemed very characteristic of both the club's seasons, in that Inter can dominate a game and can be very strong and then not get the right result, where Milan can almost not be in a game and somehow manage to get a result.
So what about Milan then? Just we'll briefly kind of talk about them, because like you say, there wasn't really very much positive that I could take from it, apart from that ending, which was kind of that maybe shows a bit of character in the team. But I mean, apart from that, everything was coming through Deulofeu. Anything half decent that they did came through him. Carlos Bacca was anonymous. The midfield was Sosa, Mati Fernandez, Kuchkas. There's just no inspiration there at all. And then obviously Romagnoli, De Sciglio had a bit of a nightmare, particularly in the first half as well. I mean, so if you're Vincenzo Montella, apart from celebrating like you won the game, what could you take from it?
Well, that's a difficult question, because as you said, I mean,
I'm asking.
The only thing you can think of is Gerard Deulofeu was great, but it's very one-dimensional what they were doing. And you know, I don't say that to take away from the result. They got the result, but it's, you know, it's something I guess I've kind of echoed a lot of the season. It's the way they play. It's not long term. It's not going to sustain results over the long term. So, you know, whether it's something more building for another season, maybe, I don't know. They've got a lot of youth there, so very much a building phase for Milan. So maybe in the next couple of years we'll see more of their identity come through. But at the moment, you know, there's not much there. But they're still doing enough to be in front of Inter, so that's got to say a lot for their character.
Milan fans, they won't mind. They don't care. Just before we do finish, I want to kind of get your thoughts. This is your first derby, isn't it?
Yeah.
So 12:30 kickoff. There was a lot of controversy over it. The Milan fans at half-time said all you can eat with a pig eating, I think it was like a Chinese yen note. They said buon appetito, Lega Serie A. So they're obviously telling the league that they're not happy.
Yeah.
What did you think about having a game of this magnitude at half-past?
Yeah, it is very odd. I mean, for me as a fan traveling here, it was annoying to have to get up early and get a train and come all the way here. But you know, trying to look at it from a Lega Serie A point of view and a club point of view, you know, Serie A has been criticised a lot for not having I guess, an international view of the game and selling it internationally. So I can't really criticise them for doing something like this that's going to possibly help to grow the sport in places like China or the Asian market. So I understand the frustrations of the fans, but at the same time, I think whether it's this or whether it's something else, but I think they're going in the right direction in terms of looking at how they can expand the Serie A, because they really have a lot of catching up to do to the likes of La Liga and the Premier League.
Yeah, well, I was actually surprised. Well, the atmosphere when it is a night game is a lot better.
Yeah.
It really is. But like it was still quite a good atmosphere for such a kickoff. People were here an hour and a half before kickoff. Outside the San Siro was obviously very busy as it would normally be, but it was. There wasn't as much kind of animosity that I thought there maybe would have been, given that generally Italians do not like this 12:30 kickoff game at all.
Yeah, no, it was good. To be honest, being in the stadium, I thought, yeah, it was quite, it was great atmosphere. You know, possibly one of the best atmospheres I've had of an Inter match that I've seen. So I don't think it took away that much for a midday game. It was more just, I think it's more just the inconvenience more than anything for the fans. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much it. Obviously, we want to know what you think about the game. What did you think about Milan's equaliser? What did you think about Inter's performance? Is Pioli to blame? Is it just Milan are fantastically amazing and they always get a result? What is it? Leave a comment in that bit down there. Read the description and do all the things in between, and then tell us what you thought. Obviously, go on Twitter, follow us there. Links down the bottom. Patreon as well, Nick.
Patreon,
go on there, please.
Support us.
So, like, we do need it, because if we get $1 off a few people, that means we can come and do more of these and bring you lots of different videos and stuff from Italy, from Serie A games, which is something that, from an English fan's point of view, is something you don't get. So we want to kind of provide that to everybody as well. What else? Check out Vieri's video on AC Milan, because he was very proud of it.
Yes, new ownership, yes, a lot going on there, so check those videos.
Well, they'll be happy. In front of me in the press box, there was the rows that just had Chinese press, Chinese press, Chinese press, Chinese press. Like, they don't even have newspapers, it's just that we're just going to write Chinese press and everybody. And they all had McDonald's. So why would you come to Italy from China and buy a McDonald's? I didn't understand. So there you go. So that's what the Chinese do when they come to
have a McDonald's in the San Siro soon.
Yeah, well, maybe. They've got, I don't know if you can see there behind us, there's 2 McLaren cars there in the Inter colours. So maybe one for you, Nick, and one for me. We can get a lift home, I think.
Drive out into the horizon.
Yeah, so there we go. I think that's us. We've had enough. They probably had enough of us, so there's nothing else left for me to say other than arrivederci.
Ciao.